Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this video. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Also, check out my other reviews of Mandalorian, Andor, and Book of Boba Fett, as well as my sequel fan remake. It tells a much better story. Feel free to check that out. Let's get into this. So this is Andor, Andor, episode 7, and here we are after the heist in episode 6, where the main characters really were not challenged. There was zero diversity. The TIE fighters that were released didn't even catch up to them. Nothing really happened. They got away with it very easily. And we're going to start off with another scene with the guy from the security corps that failed to get Andor and was fired, and his overbearing mother. So another scene with him and his mom and her chastising him. And immediately she starts giving him crap for the exact same superficial stuff we already saw. His dress, his posture. She feeds him some more crunch berries and blue milk. It's just like, why? And basically she says that she's got him a job interview. So we have like a 5-6 minute drawn out lecture, and then he gets a job interview from her. Yay. Why would you start the next episode like this? Like, you just had a heist scene, you've elevated the excitement, and then we go back to this. It's all the momentum is just killed immediately. Like, totally gone. We're back to just boredom and lectures. I don't know if the writer, that's his experience in life as an overbearing mother. I guess it is, because he just loves putting these scenes in. And then the Empire scene, and Buddy, who spoke to Palpatine, the head guy or whatever, the Admiral. And so now new measures are going to come in to quell the resistance, and it's rinse repeat. It's the same thing again as the last scene, where they just drag this show on, man. I don't need to see every single meeting that the Imperials have about, like, obviously they're going to do that. Like, we know they're going to quell uprisings. Like, we don't need to see these scenes. It's a waste of time. Again, this entire show, if it was condensed into 1 hour and 25-minute long episode, would have actually been kind of exciting, but it's very boring. And then, of course, resting bitch face chick doesn't approve of the new measures, I guess. That's just her face, and we just don't know, because she's always angry. But anyways, then we get another just awful scene with Mon Mothma and Luthen, or whatever the heck his name is, and he brings up her trying to, access her family funds. He's always just begging for money. Like, it's like scene after scene with these two. It's him begging for money, and it's dragged on. It's the same scenes, just rehashed with dialogue saying the same thing written in a different way. It's like they put zero effort in. It's like when you have to do a paper in school or something about, like, say, some science-based thing, and instead of actually doing the research yourself, you go online and you find a paper and then you just reword it. It's like the writers are doing that, but with their own papers from previous episodes. It's too lazy to do anything exciting, so they just take their own writing from previous episodes and rewrite it and create another scene that's exactly like the previous scene, but it's boring. And it's like they're trying to be Game of Thrones, but it's like C grade. It's like C grade Game of Thrones. It's just terrible. And Mothma is all scared because Luthen is trying to bring an actual rebellion, although I think he ends up bad anyway. And I don't know why she's scared about that. It's weird. It doesn't fit her character in A New Hope and in the movies, where she's very much leading the rebellion. And so now I guess we're gonna build on her character by making her struggle with the idea of rebellion. Even though if you go to the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, she's very much a part of this. He's not even in those scenes. He's some guy at this point. I don't know why he's even in the show, other than to just chastise her and maybe create this new dynamic with her character, which doesn't fit her previous dynamic, which happened in the timeline previously. I know it was a deleted scene, but still, it doesn't fit her attitude in A New Hope. And it's just nonsense. It's boring as well. It's just bad dialogue, and again, rehashed scenes. And I expected Mon Mothma to be all about stomping the Empire and not filled with fear. Like, this is it's just boring and pointless. And then back to Crunchberry guy, and he gets a crappy Imperial office job, and you're like, really? We all know he's joining the rebellion. This is all just fake, drawn out drama. Just have this exciting scene where he rejects the Empire and moves on. Like, this is so boring. Anyway, and then some useless scene at the airport, and oh no, a Star Destroyer lands where the rebellions went after that dam in the previous episode. And it's hilarious because the people that Andor was working with are still there. Like, they're still there. The Empire hasn't done anything about them. They're just still there. I remember I was talking about in the previous episode that or episode 4 or whatever, where the TIE fighter did a flyover, saw them, and the Empire didn't come and investigate who these people were living a mile away from this dam. Like, they just left them. It's like, it's the Empire incompetent now. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. So anyway, they're there in the shot, and you see the Star Destroyer, and you're like, whoop-de-meets-do. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Why are they even there? And then some random characters at the practically empty airport on Coruscant, which is a massive city planet. And there's still zero traffic on Coruscant, which makes no sense. And I tweeted about that, and then somebody was like, oh, but it's because the Empire's locked everything down, and so the people don't want to go anywhere, and the economy's bad. And it's like, but then at the end of this episode, Andor's on a tourist planet, and there's people and aliens everywhere, and there's stormtroopers everywhere, probe droids everywhere, and there's still people everywhere eating out, having fun, doing things. So this whole idea that, oh, it's because the Empire locked everybody down. No, they don't. It's because they were lazy and they didn't want to spend the extra $50,000 or whatever it's going to cost them to put traffic on Coruscant, which doesn't even look like Coruscant. The buildings look weird. It doesn't make any sense. It's terrible. And then another, I called it soggy scene with Mon Mothma kissing all the other politicians' butts, and she's trying to access her family fortune. But why can't she do that on her own? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just silly, and Buddy knows it. And then the first interesting thing with Mothma is she doesn't trust her husband. So we've got the teenage angst scene. Now it's the I don't trust my husband scene. I have family problems. Isn't that interesting? Like, where's the Star Wars? Like, this is all about, like, just personal crap. This entire show, it's so boring. And then I also noticed zero ships flying around on Coruscant in the background again. And I mean, even my broke butt added them to my Coruscant scenes in my episode 9 remake, and you can see it in the trailer. Even I could do that, and it took me, like, I don't know, 20 minutes just to add a few ships flying around the background, so it kind of looks realistic. But they couldn't even be bothered because, I don't know, it's Disney Star Wars. And then finally, someone throws a rock at a stormtrooper garrison, but nothing happens. And next boring scene with Andor, and then it's literally 20 minutes of Andor and his mom. It just on and dragging on and trying to be Game of Thrones, and it's not interesting. It's boring dialogue. And then she tells him not to look for his sister, and I guess his sister must have been the other little kid from the flashbacks, pointless flashback scenes where we saw like 15 of them and we needed one. And okay, that was the whole point of that. Like, really? We needed that long drawn out scene for that? It's just, oh, man. And then we go back to another Imperial morning staff meeting talking about the same old drivel that we don't need to see, nothing interesting. Like, I mean, if you guys remember back to the conference scenes with Tarkin and in the original movies, there was always some major thing going on. Whether it was the Death Star, whether they were deciding what planet they were going to approach first, whether it had to do with Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Jedi, or something big was going on. It wasn't just a general meeting about, oh, look, there's people rebelling, we need to crack down, let's have a 10-minute scene talking about it. Like, that's implied automatically. We don't need to see a scene about that. Have a scene about something that matters. But there is nothing that matters. There's nothing that matters. The only thing that's happened is one heist. That's the rebellion right now. 7 episodes in, one heist. We don't know what they did with the money. And that's literally it. That's all that's happened in 7 episodes in like 6 hours. And so, yeah, what else are they going to talk about? Nothing, because nothing's happened. And then we get to this beach planet, which was kind of cool. It kind of has like a Babylon vibe, I guess, you know, in the architecture and stuff like that. But then it starts off with Andor getting out of bed and getting told what to pick up at the store by his girlfriend, and he's nursing a hangover. Like, it's just, this is not Star Wars. What is this? And then he takes a walk, and because he kind of, I guess, looks like the thieves, a bunch of thieves run by, and they're kind of dressed ragtag like he is. Like, a lot of the other tourists look kind of, I guess, a little more touristy than them because they're wearing bright colors and stuff. That's how they filmed it, right? And then these other guys are just kind of bland, and he looks kind of like them. And so he gets accused by the Imperial Stormtrooper guy of being part of the theft, and then he gets, you know, watched over by a security droid who strangles him up against the wall. And then it cuts to Andor getting charged with 6 years in jail for some bogus charges. And then he goes to jail. And this is okay and not okay. Like, I get that, he's going to jail on false charges. That's fine. The 6 years thing was a little over the top. They're kind of presenting the Empire as being, like I said, like they didn't look for the group that eventually did attack the dam. They didn't look for them, even though they spotted them. And then this really over the top charges because he talked bad about the Empire or something. It's like they're presenting the Empire as kind of incompetent and dumb, and you don't get that vibe that they're just, they know what they're doing, even though the aesthetics are right and it looks good. What they say and do, it doesn't feel like the Empire. It feels like sort of this sort of bumbling, incompetent faction. Like it doesn't again, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It just doesn't. And so you don't feel threatened. You're like, oh, he's getting 6 years, which is so over the top for the charges. So for sure he's gonna break out and go do stuff. Like there's no, it's just dumb. And then it ends this and then the episode ends where it started with Crunchberry Guy, except he's sitting in his cubicle at his new job and he looks sad and he's looking up because he's obviously going to quit and join the rebellion at some point in this show, eventually, maybe in 50 more episodes of dragged out dialogue and boredom. So essentially nothing happened in this episode. The only thing that happened is Andor got arrested. So it was like a 45-minute episode and Andor gets arrested on false charges. That's literally the entirety of this entire, the only thing that actually matters. Everything else was useless scenes, rehashed dialogue from previous scenes. Nothing occurs. Nothing. Mothma doesn't get access to her accounts. No more rebellion uprising happens. Nothing except Andor gets arrested in 45 minutes. This show is just so bad at this point. And like, I gave it a shot. It was going along slow, but I thought, oh, okay, it's gonna. No, it hasn't picked up. It went right back to where it was before, of boredom and uselessness and stupid. Anyways, have a good day.